What's up guys, welcome to another ChessMaster stream video. So today I'm gonna go through the game I played recently, and one thing I'd like to mention: the slower time control you play, the less blunders and mistakes you will have. So this game I went through computer's analyzer, and it says white pieces, I played white pieces, have 28 excellent moves, one good, one inaccuracy, and one mistake. Well, we'll get there. Our opponent had 2 mistakes, 3 inaccuracies, 3 good moves, and 22 excellent moves. So best move was played by white side, 59.3%, black played 44.4% best move. So let's get in the game. I opened with e4, so our opponent played right back with e6, preparing for this French defense. Well, I decided let's go ahead and develop the knight f3. So there's the French, they go ahead and play d5. So I decided I'm gonna advance. So they immediately tried to control a lot of center squares with a c5 move. So I can already feel some pressure. So I played c3 with only one intention, to just play a d4. So they develop knight. I played d4. They take and I take back. So there is a lot of things going on over here. First thing, let's go ahead and point out that both of their bishop and queen has a check chance, which actually does not scare me, because I have a lot of ways how to just avoid that, and meanwhile developing a piece. And so far in the game there were only excellent and good moves played. And the next move, bishop b4, is actually inaccurate by our opponent. So computer says best move was knight g to e7. So really, yeah, so basically just here, connecting those bad boys. Probably just fianchetto the bishop later on, castle short. Maybe that's what computer thinks. All humans think differently. A game is rated almost 1600, so both of us around 15 to 1600 rated. So there's the check, and I have a couple options now. I actually have like 5 legal moves, right? 4, and this is 5th. Oh, excuse me, I didn't play that. That was not played. So in the game I was spending a while, but I decided to block with the bishop, and immediately computer told me that it's actually inaccurate, since knight c3 would have been the best. I kind of wanted to challenge the bishop, and in case they take, I would just recapture with the knight, so connecting those guys. Also, that would develop another piece of mine. So they decided to pile up. Still no reason for that, since there is enough defenders, so 4 pieces are defending that bishop. And in this case I wanted to kind of release a little bit of pressure, so I decided to play a3. So just to ask the question to the bishop, what is your intentions? And over here it doesn't really have much of a choice than just to take, because let's say bishop goes away wherever they want, they can just take their queen, so obviously that wouldn't be nice for them. Computer says a3 is actually inaccurate move, so better move was knight c3, so just developing another piece. And yeah, well, it is what it is, right? So they take, and I took back with a knight. So note that I could have taken back with a queen, and that would actually simplify things, and not force, but they could have this option to trade down even more. But I didn't want to go in a endgame already, so I decided just to take back with my knight to keep the queens on board. So they decided to play knight g e7. So obviously, just the intentions are very simple: to castle. So I developed my bishop with the same intention of castling. So this move I would not recommend, but computer says it's okay. It's not excellent, but it's a good move. So knight f5. It's actually doing very important thing. And as you will see in the game, the d pawn, so white color's d pawn is really important, and they are trying to kind of collapse this thingy. Maybe they will pile up with the queen as well. So right now I have only one defender for my d pawn, so I gotta address that. And the only good way to do so would just be by playing the knight somewhere. So it would be discovery assistance for my d pawn, and also would knight join in. But I decided to make it a bit more fun, and I played b4. What that does, it gains a little bit more of space for white side. So obviously, if the pawn is on a b2, there is not a lot of things going on for us. But now look at the room that we just gained. So the queen has to move. That's what that is the main reason they didn't take the pawn. And only now I just play knight b3. So now I have 3 defenders for my d pawn, and they have no good way to add another attacker to the pawn, so it's safe and secured. So now just a couple of casual moves, both of us castles, so that was the original intention, just a little bit premature attack by them. Well, it doesn't affect them a lot. So they decide to develop a bishop and connect those rooks. Note that before castling I could have played knight c5 just to cover that d7 square, and in case they want to develop, I can get the bishop out of the way. But the bishop alone is not that worse in case I get my knight in such a nice square as c5. It's not reasonable to take out their bishop. It would be more better just if I take out one of their bishops, if they have bishop pairs, because let's say one bishop is worth 3 points, two bishops is are worth 6 points, but together I would give both of them at least 8 points. So since they already lost one bishop, I don't see a good reason to take out their bishop. So now knight c5 was played, but they already have connected rooks. They thought I'm gonna go for the bishop, so they retreated. I think that was not the best move. I think they should just keep the bishop over here, since if I take, they could just defend it with any rook or a queen. And if I take it, I give up a very strong knight. So it's a knight that is already in enemy's base, enemy's camp, so it can do a lot of damage. Next move by us was played rook c1. The computer says it's a good move. Also about the bishop bishop e8, computer says it's a good move. Next move is excellent. So rook c8, kind of trying to control that open file. So I decided to get my queen to d3, so queen up. And my idea originally was just try to shuffle my bishop around, make nice battery at the king. So if ever I play g4, I could have checkmate them. But then I decided I have a quicker idea. So just go ahead and knight g5, and then this g4 pawn. So they should give up the knight in order to survive the game and avoid the checkmate. But not the case here, because I had to address their moves as well. So a5 was played in the game. Computer says it's a little inaccurate, so I have a couple options here. I could take, but I don't like that, since my d pawn is a little bit vulnerable, and knight is really just defended by the rook and this pawn. So if I take, that would weaken my strong c5 knight. Oh, excuse me. So yeah, the other option, I accidentally pressed it, was to push, and that's the move what was played in the game. So I gained tempo on the knight, and if you look closely, not a lot of places this knight could go. And another purpose to push that b pawn is that I kinda release pressure from my d4 pawn, because the knight has to move away. So knight back to a7, so really bad knight, and immediately I secure my b pawn with a4. So those guys are really strong, camping here in enemy's base. queen cannot really leave that b pawn away since my knight is covering that. So they're kinda cramped up on a queen side. And yeah, their decision was to play a rook c to b8 with the only purpose to defend b pawn, and so the queen can move finally somewhere else. Because now queen is really passive, the knight is passive, rook is also passive, and it's all achieved just because of my 2 pawns and a strong c knight. So this is why I would never take that bishop out, because look at that, my knight is cramping down queen. That's 9 points strong, knight that is 3 points strong, and a rook that's 5 points strong. So in total, if my math knowledge is correct, it's 17 points cramped down by 3-point knight. So I would give this knight at least 5 points, at least as strong as rook, even though this one might be actually stronger since the rook is doing absolutely nothing, same as their other rook. So now finally, since I addressed all their threats, I played knight g5 with the intention of playing g4 and going for the checkmate. So they had to respond to this, and so they did. Queen to d8. Obvious reasons, just to hit the knight. And yeah, well, I could just go ahead and play the g4 as well. But first of all, they would take the knight, and I would get back this. I wouldn't, excuse me. I couldn't, because queen's here, this guy's pinned, so can never go on the sides due to the pin to the king. So yeah, but I saw a nice tactic. If you would like to try it out, pause the video, guys, and try to find the next move. So in the game was played knight g takes e6, forking queen and a rook. They can take back with a pawn. There's the other knight right around the corner, ready to recapture. So look at this. And from now on, obviously they have to move queen. The rook will be lost, and also note that I'm on the knight, so this is really tricky over here. So queen to e7, knight takes rook, and best move obviously is queen takes knight, so they defend the knight that I can take. And they made the first mistake of the game, so king takes f8. So I can get the knight with a check, so I did. King back and rook c5, so attacking their weakness. And at this point they have some moves that can harass my queen, so bishop g6 was played, queen back, rook f8 was played, queen again back to g3, and my original intention was to move over here, but since they harassed my queen that much, I ended up on a g3, and it's not so bad since their knight can only go on a c8 and can get here, so knight is stuck. I'm still on their weakness, and I'm up in material, so computer says it's now plus 7.87. Next move by them, played queen d7 just to defend the pawn, and I decided why not to harass that queen again. Since they harassed my queen, I'm gonna go ahead and do the same thing to them. So queen back, and now I push my pawn. So this is critical move in the game, which decided that game is about to be over in the next few moves. So obvious intentions are to push the pawn, but the pawn needs another defender. So my original ideas was maybe queen somewhere in, maybe rook, so I can push, and they will have to do something about it. Oh, excuse me. And all this thing just, I don't know how it escalated, but the pressure on d pawn was important, and very important was the knight on c5, c6. Yeah, I was calling c6 knight c5 all the time. Sorry, guys. Okay, so in the game was played b6. So somehow they're just trying to buy some more time to attack my rook, and I was thinking for a while where to place the rook, but in general there's only one good place, and if I go to rook c7, it does two things. First thing, they attack the knight. The other thing, that they would guard the e7 square. in case I push the pawn, so I don't really need to involve other rook or my queen in this. And note that queen is defending the square as well, so my rook is free to go over there. Oh, excuse me. Don't know what's with this computer analyzer, but okay. So in the game I played rook c7, and uh, not sure what my opponent was thinking at this point. Computer says it was the best move played, so they decided to finally solve the knight's problem. So they saved the knight, and maybe they wanted to somehow get it in the game. Also, they're defending this square. But in this case, there is a really nice tactic. I'd like you to pause the video and try to find next move. So in the game was played rook takes a knight. It's a star move. Look at that, guys. So queen takes back, exchange sacrifice, but now a really strong move. Again, you can pause the video and try to find it. Pawn to e7 is a winning move. Hitting the queen, hitting the rook, and there is really not a lot of things they can do. One thing, they could just put the queen back. They would lose the rook, be the check, so they would have to take it. So I would be up even more in material, and with such a material advantage, there's not much to do for them. I could quickly get my queen in the game, gobble off all their pawns, bishop here to get this guy. Would have also go with a check. So, and after e7 my opponent resigned, so computer shows me plus 10.14, so this is it. And if we go back here, we can see in this French game everything was about d4 pawn. It was pretty much all we played for. So 3 pieces are focused on attacking this guy, and also 3 pieces are defending that guy. So it's literally like half of the board just focused on that d4 square. So for beginners, I would recommend to play slower games and kinda get the feel of the chess, because blitz and bullet chess are not really meant for deep thinking and analysis. More of a fun and I don't know, maybe developing chess instincts and tactics as well. So chess vision possibly, but slower games are the real deal. That's the thing that will help you to improve in chess. And yeah, that knight c5 it is, yeah. So knight c5 was another critical move. So that d pawn is super important, and knight c5. If I lose either of them, if I trade that knight for the bishop, let's say they do something like this, I wouldn't have such an advantage anymore, and also they would still have 3 pieces on that pawn. So yeah, this structure positionally, somehow I managed to take them down. And the one thing I forgot to mention in this game, I believe now they can take the pawn, because if I take back, they can take it, and if I take back with my queen, they get the c knight. So that's the only mistake from our side in this game, but well, computer counts it as a mistake for them as well, since they didn't see the tactic. Everything else was perfectly played by our side, and the 2 tiny mistakes for my opponent led them to lose the game. So I hope you guys enjoyed this analysis, this video, and if you want to see further videos about slower chess games, let me know in the comment section, of course, because mostly I play blitz and bullet. And also, if you want to see more of my content, don't forget to subscribe this channel and hit the bell button. Thank you guys for this, and see you next time.